Understanding social work as a profession. Understanding social work as a profession. Do you hear me? Some of you please respond whether you hear me or not. Yes, well, thank you. So, in this block, that is first block. First block you all know very well. First block means first book. Book number 1. In this block, there are 5 units. That is, the first unit is social work as a profession, you know. Second unit, values, principles, and ethics of professional social work. And third unit is social work in correctional setting. And fourth one, community work in social work and social action. And the last one, that is unit 5, social work research and social welfare administration. These are the 5 units. So for MS31, I have only 8 hours. And within these 8 hours, I have to finish all these books, all the blocks. And today, I have to finish the 5 units of first block. So I will tell the most important points, and you know, IGNOR notes are the best one available in the world. It's not an exaggeration. What I am telling is correct. So if you want to get good marks, you follow the book, you read the book many times, not 1 or 2 times, and prepare notes. From this book alone, don't write anything outside from this book, from net or internet or something else, because the person's value, your answer book will give importance to the best notes available in our book alone. Also, it indicates that the student has gone through the textbooks thoroughly. And if you write something here and there, the assumption of the valuer, invigilator, the valuer, who values your answer book, will be that the candidate is not thorough with the text. So, I first of all recommend you to read the book carefully and study the main points, prepare notes, and write well. And best of luck. Also, one thing I have to say, you refer back questions and be thorough with the questions. That is question model. And then prepare. I need not say all these things because you are all familiar, you study. So I need not tell, but one thing, if you do this, you will get good marks. Okay. So first book, that is Understanding Social Work as a Profession. So in this book, there are 5 units. And the first unit is social work as a profession. Now, when you hear social work, what we understand, so social work has changed from time to time. In ancient times, what social work is not now, because today, once it was a part of charitable activity related to religion and so on. But now people purposefully, deliberately, and intentionally do social work. Why? Because they want to help others. Simply saying, they want to help others. So that is why social work becomes more important nowadays. So, in this book, that is the first block, that is in unit 1, social work as a profession. We can understand, when we read, you can understand the difference between charity and voluntary work, and from professional action. What is professional action? What is charity? And what is voluntary action? All these things you will come to know of it from this one. And there is a federation, International Federation of Social Workers, IFSW. So they give definitions, and they give time to time the evaluation of social work. So that is the unit work, unit one. That is what we study. So voluntary versus professional. I'll show you my slide also so that it will be easy for you to see. Okay. So, what is so in this book, voluntary versus professional action. That is professional action and voluntary social work and professional social work. And then in this unit, what we study is voluntary versus professional action. Purpose and objectives of social work. Then universal and culturally relevant perspectives. That is international statements on professionalism. These are the things you come to know from this unit. So we can see the points. Social work as a profession distinguishes charity or voluntary action from professional action. Professional action, one who does in a professional way, and charitable action, we know charity. As a part of charity, people have the mind to help others as a part of charity. Whatever help they can, service, that may be service or money or something. So identifies the basic components of profession. Debate on whether social work is a profession. And the purposes of objectives of social work. So the difference between profession and charity. Charity, you know very well. We do it for what? As a humanitarian ground, we may do it. We may help others. That is charity. So these are the key points in this unit. The profession, action, and charity or voluntary action. The basic components of profession. The debate on whether social work is a profession in this unit. The purpose and objectives of social work, and the breadth and complexity of the definition offered by the International Federation of Social Workers. That is IFSW. These are the key points in this unit. So these are elaborated, and when we pass on, these points are elaborated. So what is voluntary? A part of charity. So the Hindu religion sanctifies charity, means sanctification. That means it is a very, very great act, which is the same thing like praying to God. So worshipping God and any charitable activity they consider safe. So that is a part of religion. Then some people, that is Judaism, they will help others. That is neighbors. Why? Neighbors, they want to help because it is, they believe that before, then only they will satisfy the principles. That's it. Then the Old Testament stresses caring for needy. After that, Christians who was cared by strangers, and they care everybody, encouraged a brotherly love. Islam also, there is charity, and that is equivalent to prayer. So, Sikh also considers so. Buddhism, in Buddhism and Jainism also, what compassion for poor are there. Then Parsis, among the Parsis also, there is this charitable activity. So part of various religions have been mentioned here. And in all this, they do it as a part of their belief. They believe that if only they do, they will satisfy the principles. That's why they are doing. So this is voluntary action. Then the purpose and objectives of social work. This is voluntary action. Then in India also, there is a tendency to label Shratman as a social work. The term is derived from Shram, that is manual labor, and Dan means donation. To promote collective good, they used to do this. Then there are so many definitions related to this, and you can refer that definitions, and the people have given their own views regarding this. So many people presented their views through their writings. So one such social worker is Flexner report. Dr. Flexner gave a report, that is his views in a book. And in that National Conference on Social Work in 1915, his speech was, "Is social work a profession?" So he has attributed he has given or listed 6 attributes. Attributes means, one, professions, that is, intellectual operations with a large individual responsibility, like that. So they differentiate what is voluntary action, that is in the case of social work, and what is professional. So that is what is dealt with in unit number 1, that is the first point of. Now we come to purpose and objectives of social work. So why people are doing this? So the innate quality of man or human beings is to help others. Why? People with the conscience, they used to help others. To enhance human well-being or to eliminate poverty, oppression, and other forms of social injustice. That is one of the objectives of social work. Human well-being is the first and foremost aim. Within that comes poverty, oppression, and other form of social injustice. So then, to enhance interactions of people, individuals, families, groups, organizations. For what? The innate aim is well-being of human beings. That's all. Then programs the meet basis of human needs. Then pursue policies, services, resources through advocacy and social or political actions. So formerly or in ancient times, it was done by limited people, and was not in an organized manner. But now, social work is in an organized manner, well planned. They use research, knowledge, skill, and so on. So if one time it was, if once it was a voluntary action, now it has turned into professional. That is organized, well organized. International organizations are there. So these are the objectives and purpose of social work. So there are so many organizations connected with this, and you may refer to it because I can't refer all these in my class because I had to finish all these things. So I'll just mention here and there, and you have to. So many books were published regarding social work. So in 1989 in India, so many changes occurred, took place in 1989. So many developments took place. So Mandal in 1989. So also in India, so many missionaries came with the purpose of this social work. In 2003 and 2002 and 3, so two famous books, that is The Future of Social Work Practice by Elizabeth Clark, was published in 2003. That is Western Social Work and Social Work in India. So these are some of the books, and they gave their ideas and views regarding social work. So the main point to notice that from the act of a charity, it developed into what? Professional work. That's what we discuss here. So in India also, so many changes took place, also along with the Western social work. So many in India, you know very well. So many reports that after independence we suffered a lot, and what is we have poverty, illiteracy, child mortality, malnutrition, joblessness, homelessness. These are all the issues. And apart from all that, corruption, everything was there. So it was very difficult for the government alone to correct all these things. So the social workers or social activists, we can take it that term from the current scenario, social activists. They took up all these issues and they worked for that, along with the government work. Otherwise, we will not be able to complete or reach where we intend to reach. So, in this unit, we learned the purpose and objectives of social work. The main points are referred in my slide. And then, universal and cultural level. So sorry, unit 2. We have finished unit 1. And Unit 2. Values, principles, and ethics of professional social work. So before that, I have to mention one more title, that is Universal and Cultural Relevant Perspective International Statements of Professionalism. That is Unit 3. I think. In Unit 1, there are subtitles, and those subtitles I am mentioning. That is why I am telling purpose and objectives of social work we have taken. And the next subpoint is universal and culturally relevant perspectives. International statements of non-professionalism. That is the last point. So we can discuss now the Unit 2, that is values. Unit 1 and Unit 2. That is Unit 2, values, principles, and ethics. Values, principles, and ethics are professional social work. That is Unit 2. Here, the evolution of social work, values, and ethics are discussed. Evolution of social work. Social work as a profession, social work as an action, then purpose, values, principles, and ethics of professional and social work. So first slide you may understand. That is what are we dealt with in this. Ah. Yes, the evolution of social work, values and ethics, then moral development, and in Unit 2, these are the main points. Unit 2. There are 5 units I have told you in first, in block 1. In block 1, there are 5 units, and we now deal with the Unit 2. The evolution of social work, values and ethics, moral development and ethical decision making, National Association of Social Workers Code of Ethics, International Social Work Values and Ethics, issues in ethical decisions. These are the main points discussed. Values, principles, and ethics are ethics of professional social work. That is Unit 2. So, what are the primary social work values? And how moral development affect ethical orientation? So, the difference, I will distinguish the difference between what are similarities in ethic codes across cultural contexts and to understand factors to be weighed in making ethical decisions. Ethics, you know very well. So, without ethics, no society can survive. We all know very well. So, what are values? Values are the principles which each and every person has to follow to keep up morality or to keep a person morally fit. Values guide behavior. That is, so if there is no value, the behavior will be worst. That's the difference. So that is derived from cultural, educational experiences also. So there are collective beliefs. There are collective beliefs. That is, in India, there are unity in diversity. We all know very well. So there are diverse groups, and each group has their own value and principle and their own guiding factors. So, in the case of social work, what we deal is the welfare of human beings. So, whatever in whichever area it is necessary, that is individual counseling or psychiatry or in eliminating poverty, wherever it is needed, the social work is needed. We people do it. So there'll be often there'll be conflict between social workers and clients because they may have one belief, and that belief may not be good because due to their illiteracy or due to their ignorance, they may be following a principle which may be harmful to humanity or human beings, human race. So, what they will do, the social workers, they will teach. So, this is harmful. This was a very unethical and unethical practice which has been following. Now, you please change. The social workers may try to change them, and then there will be conflict. So, what I intend is, what I mean is, value, what is value to a social worker may not be a value to an ordinary illiterate person. So there comes the conflict. Due to their ignorance, they may be doing that. Ignorance, illiteracy, poverty, all these things culminate in making a decision in such a way. That's all. So there will be often conflict between between social workers and these ordinary folk who are not well versed. So the evolution of we refer to the evolution of social work. It started during the 1800s and early 1900 in US. So in the urban areas, they started. For what? To eliminate poverty, child maltreatment, and poor working conditions of immigrants. Then slaves, to eliminate slavery and this racism. and also to save women and children. Apart from that, inhuman conditions in poor houses. So that was how it started in US. So there came activists then, Dorothea Dix. Dorothea Dix, one of the activists then. So it improved the life of people. So when social workers do some active work, the life of the standard of living of people will be improved. So they do it for what? They do it as a profession. They do it as a profession because some people select social work as their main job and activity. So trained social workers began to do all these things, and so many changes took place in 1800 and 1900, early 1900. So in 1947, Delegate Conference of American Association of Social Workers was there, the formal court. So in 1999 also, there came another code. Many authors published so many books and they gave their ideas. So it was revised in 1999. The code was revised in 1999. So we have to bear in mind that social work in India is more complex because in foreign countries, so almost all foreign countries, this diversity is not there. Maybe one or two race or one or two religion will be there. But in India, the things are different. That's why social workers face a lot of difficulties in India. So then, moral development, ethical decision making. So, so many theorists names are mentioned here. Jean Jean Piaget, Lawrence Kohlberg, Carl Gilligan. They gave their theories of moral development. So, in 20th century, after the development of psychology, so till then psychology was not we all know very well, developed branch. But after 20th century, or in 20th century, we can say it developed as a branch. It developed. And then the social work activities or activists began to think of that area also. A simple example I can say. Once people who are mentally challenged are regarded as the curse of God or because of the effect of some evil spirit. So there was no proper treatment in ancient times. So what the social activists did, they took all these people and gave medicines and they began to treat and they make them believe that It is not the curse, or not because of the curse, or not because of the effect of some evil spirit. It was a disease. It is a disease, and if only they treat, that will be good. So these actives, that is, I have mentioned two or three of names. So so when this question is asked, question from this section is asked, you have to refer the names of these theorists. Otherwise, if you write points around, you won't get marks. You won't get marks. Okay. So according to Piaget, children start off in a heteronomous stage of moral reasoning that is characterized by strict adherence to rules and duties, because the parents will always stick on to rules. So that becomes, they may learn to be obedience to authority. They won't think about from that. There will be a tendency of obedience. Obedience. Hence, they won't go away from otherwise there will be punishment. So when punishments were given for wrongdoings, so what they did was, uh, fear complex was there, fear. So when there were interactions or interaction with other people, other children, other students, they become more autonomous. That is, they become more reasonable. That is, reasoning capacity increases. They began to analyze everything. They begin to analyze everything critically. So their fear will go, and they will think very reasonably. So this was Piaget's idea. Then Kohlberg modified this idea. What? He started his work by a volunteer on a ship that smuggled Jewish refugees from Egypt to Palestine. Then he was captured. This theorist was captured and interned in, that is, put in Cyprus, and he escaped from there and fled to Palestine, from where he went to US, where he joined another crew that transported refugees. So he became uh, he joined. He became a teacher at University of Chicago. Kohlberg, what he proposed to us, that children, he proposed that children form an understanding of moral concepts such as justice, rights, equality, and human welfare. Children form an understanding. Kohlberg ultimately said or pointed out that many individuals never reach the abstract or higher levels of moralism, even after they acquire maturity. So his theories were based on children and adolescents, samples of male famous one. This was then Kohlberg identified 6 stages of moral reasoning. So these 6 stages, one or two stages can be asked for short question or a short essay. What are the what moral reasoning that are grouped into categories by Kohlberg? There, what 3 categories, 6 stages of moral reasoning under 3 categories. That is pre-conventional, conventional, and post-conventional are the 3 categories in which he identified 6 stages of moral reasoning. The first one is level 1, that is pre-conventional morality. You know, after a certain stage and age, people, that is, children will have obedience because they fear punishment. They fear punishment. So they will be more obedient. And they will say, if you disobey, it will be against the law. So they fully believe that if they violate it, they will be punished. So one example is, it is bad to steal, S-T-E-A, steal. So they believe that if they steal, they will get punishment. If they steal, they will get punishment. That is stage 1, obedience and punishment oriented. The second stage, that is pre-conventional morality, second stage is individualism and exchange. So children recognize or believe that different individuals have different viewpoints about what is right and what is wrong. What is different views, different viewpoints. So the fear of punishment is still an issue there. So wrong punishment proves that disobedience is wrong. So the children try to avoid a punishment. That means they will follow rules or ethics like that. So that is level 1. Then level 2, conventional morality. What we deal is moral development and ethical decision making. Conventional morality. That is stage 3. So in an adolescent stage, people think that morality is a very complicated idea, concept. So they'll be having friends, groups, and so many of them. So in the groups, among friends, and in the society, they want to be good persons with good behavior. So, but the relativist and can consider motives such as feelings of love, sympathy, trust, and concern for others. This is level 3. Stage 3, sorry. Level 2, stage. So stage 4 is after adolescence, in adolescence, maintaining the social order. There will be an order in the society without which no people can survive in a society. Hence, what they want is maintaining social order. So they are more concerned about the society as a whole. So they may think if we break law, the whole society will come to know of it and it will be affected. So they will try to avoid doing crimes. Then level 3, post-conventional morality. That is stage 5. So we are, I am telling step by step from childhood to adolescence, then social, for keeping up social order. Now, post-conventional morality, that means social contract. There will be a social contract in a society and individual rights. So there will be no man writing in a contract in a society. But what is, there will be a social contract because people who live in a society, they are well aware that they can do such things and they should not do such things. That is following up these ethics, values, and so on. So that is social contract. So they may have a different people stay views in a society. So there will be a difference across social groups also. That is contract and social rights, social contract and individual rights. Now we pass on to stage 6. That is the last stage. Universal principles. So post-conventional morality, level 3. In that social contract and uh, individual rights. Now we pass on to what stage 6, that is universal principles. Morality and legal principles, there will be always a conflict. So people define principles for what? For achieving justice. Then Goldberg's conception of justice was influenced by Rawls and Gandhiji. Martin Luther King, for example, argued that commitment to justice entitled an obligation to disobey. That is what? So philosophers thought they need universal principle. What principles? To be people as equals who should be treated with dignity and respect. That is equal respect. So Martin Luther King believed that commitment to justice entailed an obligation to disobey unjust laws. Because Martin Luther King believed in what? Justice. He said there is an obligation to disobey unjust laws because Laws are only valid if they are grounded in justice. So if there is no justice, there is no value in law. That's what he said. These are the 6 stages Holberg suggested, and it can be asked for essay as well as for short question. So then, another activist, social worker, educator was there. Frederick Reamer was also there, and he expressed his views. So now we pass on to what National Association of Social Workers Code of Ethics. In 1999, uh, the NASWD delegates, NASW delegate assembly adopted a revised code of ethics in 1999. So they published principal standards of social work practice in various populations or in certain settings. They published code of ethics. They published. So in that uh, code, the first one is a preamble in which he stated what will be done in that, and then the mission of a social worker is or a social work profession is set on core values according to them. A set of core values. What? Social workers are embraced by these core values. So the foundation of social work's unique purpose and perspective. That is, these core values embraced by social workers throughout their profession history. So, what are their core? What are the core values? Service, social justice, dignity and worth of the person, then importance of human relationships, integrity, and competence. These are the principles mentioned. That is NASW Code of Ethics. It can be asked for a short question also. So there are 6 points in this, and we may refer to it. Then there comes international social work values and ethics. International social work values and ethics. So the social workers always have good intentions. So they will find solutions nearest to conflicts and contradictions that they are not always easily solved. So in 1958, it was founded the International Conference on Social Welfare. International Conference on Social Welfare in Munich, Germany. The International Federation of Social Workers, IFSW, has attempted to reflect the interests of diverse memberships. So, the international area regarding social work and values. are mentioned here. In 1976, it developed the ethics of social work, the principles, standards, that is International Federation of Social Workers, 1994, was promoted, then ethical debate and reflection among organizations and providers in member countries. Member countries means members of this organization. That's what mentioned. What was their goal? So their goal was basic principles that could be adopted across cultures, settings, identifying ethical dilemmas in social work practice, making recommendations for addressing them. These are their main idea, main principle. In 1994, the document declared that social work originates variously from humanitarian, religious, and democratic ideas. Democratic ideals. Yes, correct. Social work originates from all these, from humanitarian, religious, and democratic ideals. In 2004, this was again replaced by the current statement, ethics in social work. In 2004, there was a federation. In this federation, that emerged a lot from a joint conference of the International Association of Schools of Social Work, IASSW. There are so many terms and so many abbreviations and so many activists are mentioned here. You take care of this and remember all these things to write in the examination. So, what are their statement of principles? They identified the key problem areas. What are? Which are? So the social workers often met with conflicting interests, and also social workers act as both helpers and controllers. And then the fact that resources in society are limited. So, nevertheless, however, the basic principles were promoted as gates for practice. What are the basic principles? One, human rights and human dignity, respecting the right to self determination, promoting the right to participation, treating each person as a whole, identifying and developing strengths. This human rights and human dignity. Then there is social justice, that is against discrimination. Against discrimination. So they formulated professional conduct, guidance on professional conduct. And two organizations, IFSW and IASSW, which I have mentioned. Statements as well as ethical code guidelines current in specific countries. Yes. Then there is issues in ethical decision making. Ethical decision making. You know very well. How can it be possible one culture to be transferred to another? So when social workers do or initiate to eliminate some of like this, they may uh, they may meet this type of conflict. So when they do it, this profession became a global activity. A global activity. So they may have a common ideas and principles. Then Then there is UDHR, that is United Nations, sorry, UN Declaration of Human Rights, that is UDHR, Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948. So after that, uh, United Human Rights Commission was there, International Human Rights Commission, and in each country, in India, they signed it in 1993. What? Human rights. Human Rights Act was passed in 1993. So there will be what they think faults in behavior, that is drugs and liquor addicts, and all this happen, and when social workers do when they have to engage in this, there will be conflict. So one or two examples are mentioned here. So there will be conflict between members in a family also regarding social work. So it was compulsory for them to form universal principles or code of conduct for social workers. In India, it started in 1989. National Association of Professional Social Workers in India, NAPSWI. National Association of Professional Social Workers in India, 2006. So they wanted to improve the quality of life of persons, their family and environment, promotion of social change, and adherence to principles of human rights. These were the things. So we finish Unit 2. So, dear guys, 5 minutes break, and I will go on to what is this Unit 3, 4, 5. Okay. Unit 3, 4, 5. So we'll present it. Unit 3, 4, 5. This we have taken. And Unit 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. This we have taken. So to read the summary very well, because in the summary a gist or nutshell of what is there is mentioned here. In all the summary, you must read the summary of the book also in each chapter, so that you will get a sum up of what is there. This we have taken. That is unit 2. Now we will pass on to unit 3. Yes, unit 3. That is unit 3, social work in correctional settings. So what are the points? Correctional settings. You know, correction is a term which is used nowadays very well, because once you might have heard, all of you might have known this one thing, that is, there is no name for prison. The term prison or jail has been completely removed. Then what? SICCA, that is State Institute for Correctional Administration. So the name of the prison is changed into that. What is? Correctional Administration. So correction, that is, if ever there is something wrong or wrong persons, they can be corrected and bring back to the society. That is a social work, and that was the idea behind it. Okay, that's the idea behind it. So now in this chapter, we study philosophy behind corruption. Sorry, correction, not corruption, but correction. Types of correctional setting, then correctional institutes under Prison Act 1894. Then Juvenile Justice Act 2000. Then Immoral Traffic Prevention Act 1956. The Correctional Institute set up under Bombay Prevention Beggary Act 1959. Then skills and techniques used in correctional social work. Role of professional social worker in correctional setting. These are the things discussed in Unit 3. So in a society, people are obliged to do what? Follow some rules. Why? Without which a society can't go further. So they have to follow certain rules and restrictions, or restraints, we can say. Restraints. Once there was a criminal justice system, the formal mechanism is to control crime is criminal justice system. To stop crime. So the criminal justice system in India consists of 4 primary components. Criminal justice system, 4 components: the police, prosecution, courts, and corrections. So corrections means what I have mentioned, SICA, Institutes for Correctional Administration. So these are the 4 components in criminal justice system in India. The correctional justice system in India. Definition and philosophy behind correction. It is one of the one segment in criminal justice system. That means uh, a person who committed a crime, he will be convicted or acquitted. Convicted, we all know very well, giving punishment. Acquitted means setting free without punishment. These are all legal terms, convicted or acquitted. So those who are punished will be lodged for correctional setting. That is, a setup will be there, correctional administration. These persons who are convicted will be taken to those correctional administration, under correctional administration system, and they will be corrected. So the traditional approach is deterrence, retribution, offender incapacitation, and so on. Deterrence means the various measures taken to prevent a crime. That is, the methods or the measures adopted to prevent a crime. That is deterrence. Retribution means punishing someone for the wrongdoing so that he will be getting corrected and also others will see. So what is the goal behind this? The objective behind this correction? Protection of society against crime, develop a sense of discipline and security, reform and rehabilitate. That's what I have told you already. Reform and rehabilitate. That means a convict will be taken under correctional administration and he will be corrected in such a manner. There will be methods, so many methods and principles through which they will be corrected, and he will be reformed. He'll be reformed. Why? Because he has to come back to the society to lead a good life, forgetting his past. That's the innate, utmost aim of correction. That's the aim of correction. It's not simply correcting a person, but correcting him to come back to his life again, to come back to the society to lead a good life. That is correction. That's what. So such persons who are taken to the correctional homes, they are entitled to all human rights in spite of the limitations. So in ancient times, these in jails, it was the name used. In jails and prisons, so many harsh treatments were there from the authorities. But now the scenario has completely changed. Whoever is convicted will be treated with an aim to reform him. So there will not be any harsh type of actions from the part of the correctional home managers. That's all. Then correctional institutions are fragmented on the basis of number of factors. The main sources of fragmentation are what? Jurisdiction. That means the correctional settings, jurisdiction means one correctional home will have a jurisdiction up to a certain area, and the convicts under that area will be put in that correctional home, and that jurisdiction will be decided in a very clear manner. Then the second factor is criminal justice function. It includes police, courts, corrections. Then what? Then by location, that is institutional, non-institutional, by age, adult, juvenile. That is, these are the components according to which convicts are differentiated and put appropriately to correctional homes. That is suitable correctional homes. And these are the components to decide age, location, then what, whether it is adult or juvenile. If such a person is juvenile, he will be put under juvenile correctional home. And there are other factors also, that is size of operation, sex of offenders, type of offense, special program. These are all the points. Then, correctional institutions set up under Prisons Act 1894. This was amended later. This is the first one, where the correctional institution was set up by the British people in India. So these are replaced by Prisons Act of 1900 and Transfer of Prisons Act 1950 and so on. Transfer of prison means agreement between different nations. That's all. So prison structure, as you know very well, everybody knowing. Prison statistics. There are total number of 1,276 jails in the country. This figure is an old one. Now it has increased. Okay. Then central jail, district jail, and sub jails are there. This is the structure of prison. Then Borstal School, that is juvenile, that old name of juvenile homes, that is Borstal School. Then there is open jails. So in open jail, what is the difference is that there will be no walls. That is, the prisoners there are freely to move, but they won't run away. They will not be running away because they will be given every freedom. But one thing, they have securities. There will be there will be securities to watch these persons. That is open jails. Then special jails are meant for people who commit crimes and serious violations. They are put in there. Then role of social workers. Social workers often visit these correctional homes and they give their ideas. Social activists even file cases for protecting who are the prisoners. Not prisoners, yes, prisoners, not prison, but correctional administration. So these social workers, that is social work practitioners, that is what the real name, they will have a vital role there. Then probation, the tester. Probation means Probation of Offenders Act. That means there are clear-cut laws regarding this. For example, if a person, so if a boy is caught in under Narcotics Act, then it is a non-bailable offence. You know very well. It's a non-bailable offence. So if he carries some narcotic something, he'll be put in prison and without giving bail at the time. Later on, the magistrate will give only he'll be remanded. That's the real word. He'll be remanded, and later on, if the boy is when the boy is trialed in a court of law, the judge will ask, What are you doing?" Although he is studying in a college. Okay, as he is studying in a college, he can be given the opportunity of uh, offenders act. What is that? Probation of offenders. That means he'll be put under jail for 3 months or 1 month, and then he'll be released on condition that if he is to be convicted for 3 years, 3 year imprisonment, so he should not do any activity or any crime in these three within these 3 years. If he does so, his probation will be cancelled and he will be put in the prison. Again, that is what's called the probation. Then after care, after that, care will be given. Set up under the Juvenile Justice Protection of Children Act 2000. That is nothing. In ancient times or formally, there was no difference between juvenile what culprits or convicts and the adult convicts. But in 2000, this act was passed and juvenile homes were constructed with the aim, with an aim to correct these what juvenile people and bring back them to the society. So with the utmost aim of that is juveniles act and juveniles in conflict with the law when they are in trouble, when they come do something against the law, they'll be put like this because children in need of care and protection. Children are in need of care and protection. So there'll be homes for boys and girls separately. They'll be observed and they'll be corrected and they'll be given education, they'll be given morals and all these things. Then there'll be special homes, children homes, shelter homes, aftercare organization, all these things. So then there is correctional institutions set up under the Immoral Traffic Act 1956. Immoral traffic means transferring persons from one country to other country. That is trafficking. Without having legal papers. That is secretly and stealthily, that's the word. Stealthily transferring people from one country to another without the knowledge of the authorities. That is what is called the human traffic. Then immoral traffic prevention. What is that? That is prostitution. What I told you is trafficking, human trafficking. Now, Immoral Prevention Act, Immoral Traffic Prevention Act, that is stopping prostitution. So it is punishable. two kinds of accused are. One who are pimps, that means supplying persons, the voluntary work. Then sex workers, these are the two categories. Then protective homes and corrective institutions, where the social workers have a very good role. Then there is a correctional institution set up under Bombay Prevention of Beggary Act 1959. So under this act, a person accused, that is the term legally used, accused, will be presented before the court. That is a beggary act. He'll be taken into custody, and that person will be produced before a court of law. Since then, there's no free legal aid available for beggars. So, in our constitution, free legal aid is provided. The fundamental laws, fundamental duties. Sorry, our fundamental rights, included in fundamental rights. Free legal aid is provided. See, ancient times it was not there. So, when a person convicted, so after punishment, if he again begs by committing the beggar activity, he will be detained for a period up to 10 years. That is Beggary Act in 1950 in Bombay. Then beggars' homes are there. Then skills and techniques used in correctional social work, that is counseling, so giving counseling. That is, there will be, the counselors will come and they will be counseled. What? They will change these persons. Then empathy and interviewing. These are all the techniques. Captive client. These are all the techniques used to correct these persons. Then professional social workers have a vital role in all these, in correction, because they will, the role of professional social workers in various role is correctional setting has been specifically discussed. Broadly, the role of social worker in the correctional setting may take many forms as what are they? Due process. What is it? Due process? Due process involves protection of clients' legal rights. That means persons who are convicted, who are incapable of arguing with the help of an advocate. So these social activists will help them for doing that. Then diversion, decriminalization, and deinstitutionalization. They will change all these persons. Alternatives to the penal system. There will be some punishments. So in that correctional homes, they will be given vocational training, then childhood education, job-oriented training. All these things will be given. Why? For correcting the persons. So here, the modern concept is not punishing a person till death. So that will be done in special cases and special occasions for such special crimes, only for that. Apart from that, the normal persons, when they are convicted, they will be corrected with the aim not for punishing them alone. Punishment will be given, but at the same time, they will be corrected by giving this type of training. Why? Once when they complete their tenure of punishment, they will come outside, and if they are not changed persons, they will commit the crimes again, and it will be a headache to the society. So with an aim to correct the persons, these social activities give them all these trainings. Okay, then they will support with the help of advocates and reformers, administrators and supervisors, research and program evaluators, and so on. Then legal aid, I have told you. Now we pass on to Unit 4. Community work in social work and social action. What should be community work? That means, I will tell you the gist of it. Community work means a group of convicts will be selected and they will be given community training so that a community will be there. You can see the main points: historical development of community work in West India, in West and in India, historical development of community work in India, definition, then broadening the concept and definition, place of community work in social work profession, alternative perspectives, community development and community organization, importance of community work, areas of application of community organization, and future prospects. These are the points discussed. How this community work evolved in West India, in West and in India. UK started initiated this one in 19th century to eliminate acute poverty and beggary. So charitable relief was started there. So then in 1880, settlement house movement originated in England. These rural people who flocked into cities. Why they change their place from rural to city? In the hope of better living, in the hope of getting job, and so on. So, if we read the dramas of 19th century and 20th century in England, such issues are discussed because so after industrial revolution, what happened was machines and factories were established in cities, not in urban areas, not in village areas. Sorry, not in village areas. So people from villages, they started migrating to cities in search of job, in search of a better living, so on. What happened to them was they all didn't get good jobs and what they aimed. So when they live without all these things in the cities, what happened was, or in the urban areas, they didn't find adequate jobs and so on. So crimes, started crimes. So the settlement movement, which reached in USA around 1886, was never placed and captured the poor immigrants from Europe who went in search of jobs. What I have said. Then in 2000, 20th century saw the birth of community councils in USA. These are all West. Then in India, what was the objective? To look after all the sections of society. Sections of society means different sections of society are there to mobilize them for purposeful action, to take particular care of the underprivileged class, and to look after the entire process of development. That is the community worker objective in India. So most of the rural areas, this community worker started. That is by social workers. The conditions of mass literacy, lack of basic amenities, and problems of women and child exploitation attracted large number of NGOs to work in these areas. I told you they purposefully did this. And non-governmental organizations used to do this, and they'll be giving some grant from the government, by the government. So the grant will be given a certain amount, not very big amount, but a certain amount will be given for what? For doing their activity. That's what discussed. The definition of community organization. So many others described community organization. According to M.G. Rose, community organization is a process by which community identifies its needs or objectives, orders or ranks these needs or the objectives, develops the confidence and will to work at these needs or objectives, finds resources to deal with these needs of objectives. This is what M.G. Rose defines community. Then broadening the definition and the concept of community organization. So, Gungrade in 2001 defined the community organization as what? The process by which the social system of community provides for integration and adaptation within the community. That means poor people are persons not having much health care or food or clothing. All these people will be selected by NGOs and they will do work for them. So the definition prepares a way for description of function of the community organizer, which pays some attention to the quality of the social relationships and forms of action desired. Then this is what concept of community organization. So what they will do, in the case of social work profession. Community work means a continuing role. It's not a single day work. So, if a social activist or NGO works there, it's not for 1 or 2 days because it's a social activity done for a long period. Otherwise, the community will not be getting the real benefit. Housing, planning, and so on. Then, whether community work is a professional activity, that is a question argued and discussed. That is, community work is not confined to the social work profession, not confined to the social work profession. That means community work is entirely different and not confined to the social work. That means not social workers are not the only persons who work there because it is a very uh, broad concept. Then alternative perspectives and the implications for community work. Why this community work? Self-help groups and informal caring. That is public service with a professional approach. What? To help a large community. There are two types of community work. What are they? Which are they? So these two types are uh, different types, broken different types. One is technicist, and whatever perspective in question, it has been suggested that it be less confusing to categorize community work, perspective terms. So, approach on one hand and a transformational perspective, technicist approach and a transformational perspective. Social transformation means a social transformation. Yeah, the fourth unit, the last point, community development and community organization. That is common philosophical base between community organization and community development. Both of them help people to live a happy and fully developed life. The aim of both community organization and community development. The same. Both give equal emphasis to self-help. What is in the self-help? Means self-help means self-dependent, not depending others. That is self-help. The community organizer and the community development worker both work as agents to achieve these goals. The aim of these two persons, the two sections are same. Community, when we think of a community, we know social, economic, cultural, every factor comes in that. Different community organization as a practiced in United States is mostly done on a voluntary basis. That is community organization. Well, community development is in underdeveloped countries is a government-sponsored program. So in this context, you may think of NGO. NGO is what? NGO is government-sponsored program. That is a what community development. It is not done on a voluntary basis. It is done with the help of government aid. Government aid. That is why they are said so. That is community voluntarily what one voluntarily does and what one does with the help of others is entirely different. Yeah. Then importance of community work. Why? Community work importance. Why? Because importance of community work. Importance of community work. What? Social workers developed a special knowledge and skills to deal with individuals. Because you can't do social work without having skill knowledge in that. So community workers need skill and knowledge. Otherwise, they can't work. Importance of community work. The social work, which could be advantage to be applied a community develop for the community development. So they will understand the human behavior, and the worker takes pain to identify the causes. So in this context, I have to say one thing. In the remote areas of India, uh, some organizations decided to work for very, very remote people. Those with once in India, at that time leprosy was there, and people won't come to the what come to limelight. They'll be dwelling in some remote areas, and why and how they were treated. They were that is people hate even community hate those having leprosy. And they were told that only because of their crimes God punished them so. So in such conditions, in some remote areas, so many people voluntarily went there. And social groups also went there and stayed for years and years. For what? For correcting them. So at that time, they need skill to tackle with them. Otherwise, if they do not know the ABC of the work what they are doing, they may not get victory. That is why they need skill. Through which programs can be administered and through which the goal of community development can be achieved. So this group will have all these techniques and they will change the community. So, then areas of application of community organization, where they will work, national and state levels. National and state levels. In some national level, they go in any state, any remote area, and so on. In state level, they may be confined to do the work in a particular state. Okay. Then they required nurturing hand of community organizers, local, regional, and state level. Central Social Welfare Board, state advisory boards, field staff, all these their own welfare needs. Then what? Then we pass on to future prospects of community organization. Future prospects means professional work in India began at the postgraduate level in schools. That means the social work has uh, improved much, and currently in universities they offer training at a graduate level and in PG level social work, so that those who come under those courses will have such a talent, social action. Then historical development, if we say, Rome to 5th century, started in the 5th century. Then this what Irish peasants, Irish revolt, 1990 Irish revolt. In India, Buddhist and later religious movements emerged as social protesting movements. Then under colonial India, these things again changed, and so many persons then came forward. In freedom struggle, under freedom struggle also, they have this reformation. Then definitions of social action. Social action. These are all definitions. And scope of social action. I can only refer this because you just uh, jot down the important points in this and study well. Importance of social action. Social work in a developing country ought to be beyond the role of dispenser or social welfare service. It's only therapeutic or a therapeutic agent. Therapeutic means, those who cure. Then social action and social justice. Now we pass on to 50th unit. The 50th unit, social work research and social welfare administration are discussed. Social work research, quantitative and qualitative, history of social work, the contribution of social work, all these things are discussed. Social work, very well. Social work research uh, create professional social workers. Professional social workers. That's why they are called as social worker research. Then quantitative research involves analysis of numbers. Quantitative. Then qualitative, improving the quality. That's all. Then contribution of social work research to practice. Research gives scientific-based social work practice. So that is after doing this research, what they arrive at a decision. Research work is a very long process, and after that, they will find out. They will reach in an idea. Yes, this is what is happening. There are positive approaches there, and also the method of theory building. Then the interpretist approach is there. That is, information is collected and data organized. From this data, theory is built. That is what is called the interpretist approach. Now, nature of social work research. How they do it. The substantive method, substantive and methodological, two types are there. So you prepare notes on this and study. Ethics and social research. Ethics means social work is the most important ethical safeguards to be kept in consideration. Confidentiality, informed consent, then monitoring the effects of the study, involving research participants, selecting researchers without a conflict of interest. These are all very important when social work research is done. Ethics are like this. Social welfare administration. Social welfare administration means professional competence to implementing programs. And so many definitions are here. We will go through the definitions also. Because I have to finish one book in each class, otherwise I'll not be getting 8 hours. I can only refer the terms and you may read the book well. Okay. Yes. This last part I will tell you in the next class. These book 5, sorry, unit 5. I will tell the gist of it in the next class. Okay. Okay, guys. It is almost 6 o'clock. Now I will tell the. So you have to write your names, otherwise you will not be getting attendance. Abbas Sharma.
Sir, it's actually Hamna.
Pardon? Louder, please.
Hamna.
Hamna.
Yes, sir.
H-A?
MNA.
Where are you? Where are you?
Sir, I'm from Kerala itself, Talasheri.
Hamna.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, guys. I will tell the gist of the 50 unit next class. Okay, that is on 15th. Okay. See you guys.